Hi, my name's Cliff Ashford. I'm the Director of the Information Management and Collaboration Programme here at AUT. I took over this program about a year and a half ago, and I was keen to take control of it as I found it one of the most exciting things that we could possibly work on at the university. The the most interesting thing for me is partly to do with the sharing of documents and improving of work processes, but also a far more, I suppose, subversive or important aspect of this is trying to break down the silos and trying to improve communication across the whole university. AUT is a fairly large university with 3,000 staff spread across three different campuses, and every staff engagement survey that we have has reported over the past years uh, that feeling of isolation or of lack of sharing of information between different silos. And this is one of the things that I thought that we could really attack and hopefully solve through the implementation of a new intranet. Now, we used to have a system called The Wire, which was very much an old school intranet with web pages, and it had very, very old content, very out of date. People were frustrated about how they would get content up on the intranet, and people didn't bother going to it because the content was out of date. So what we wanted to do was try and attack all these various problems in a way that would almost without people's notice improve communication so they suddenly found themselves sharing information and collaborating on a day-to-day basis. Now, this is hugely exciting for me, like I say, and I'm one of the I'm an enormous sort of flag bearer for the idea of um, everybody has a good idea and everybody should try and share their ideas and also share their experience so that we don't all fall into the same um, bear traps that other people have met before. When you have 3,000 people, there's an awful lot of experience to share. So when we look at the front page, the very first thing that we delivered was something which was far more attractive and up to date, which is, I suppose, is now to the box thing you expect from an intranet. We also had a new brand rolling out at the university, which helped it appear fresh and new, which was important to us. But more importantly, I suppose, is when we first released the new intranet in the middle of 2015, we emphasized the fact that that wasn't the experience and it wasn't going to change. We pointed out that it would change regularly and we would add more content to it. We would look at the areas that worked and those that didn't, remove the bad ones or improve them and emphasize the ones that were working well. A side effect of this is the large banner at the top of the internet page is many people have asked about that saying we've lost a lot of real estate to it, but we try to use that as something that essentially emphasizes important events that are taking place at the university. In a similar way to Google changing its logo from time to time, we do similar things to say when graduation is coming, or when Christmas is coming, or when Merry New Year is coming. We try and make sure there's something up there to draw people's attention to it and pull them in to see that the content is up to date. We also made various commitments that we'd improve the experience over time and have regular releases to say that things have got better. One of the first of these was that our information architecture, when you went from that first top level menu, would take you to an intermediate level, which would then drive you off to some other content further down the IA. That worked initially and gave people a driver, but we quickly saw that first step was really inefficient. So our first release of 2016 was to change that into what we call the mega menu, which drops down a large menu, which you can then move on to the deeper levels of the IA without having to go to a separate page. Um, I suppose the next thing that came up was one of the things that we thought was really important is that collaboration is about lots of people, but also your experience of collaboration should be about yourself. It should be targeted to you and the things that you find important, the things that you need to respond to urgently. So we introduced the thing that we call Digital Me, which ultimately became the charcoal colored bar at the right-hand side of the top level screens. And that's essentially all the things that you need to know about. Initially, just now, it's sort of documents you're working on, followed sites, important links. But the aim of this was always to slowly merge digital me until digital me was all of the intranet. Um, this has recently been enhanced by the introduction of the new news center. So news, first of all, when we introduced the internet, was simply a carousel of news stories coming up and some events that we were showing. But the intention was always to try and produce something that was the equivalent of a commercial news site where many people in university could write news stories. They could tag them up in various ways to say what they were about, whether it was about research or um, specific issues such as Maori support or possibly diversity or something similar. These things could then be rolled up into subject-specific areas or could be subscribed to by individuals so they could add them onto their digital me. The next step after that was obviously do a similar thing with events and training so that people could subscribe to certain types of events or certain types of training courses as they appeared. So we're trying to produce a holistic environment which people are engaged with, they go to, the content is always of interest to them in some way or another. This seems to have worked because our feedback from people who are using AUTI now is almost universally positive. They're saying that it's changed things noticeably in their own areas and broken down some silos. And I like to think that the biggest impact is actually taking place at a level below what people can even see. It's changing the culture of the overall university. It's encouraging communication. It's removing duplication. It's raising our game across the board. And frankly, it's one of the piece of work that I am most proud of in my career. And I think my team has done a superb job over the past year and a half of producing this stuff. And frankly, I'm very, very proud of it. I'd like to recommend it to you. Thank you very much. Goodbye.